to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back. It is a Monday morning, pretty early, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And yeah, I missed last week. Folks, I've been deer hunting. Deer hunting comes around once a year, and me and my two kiddos, we drew some buck tags this year, which doesn't always happen in Idaho. Usually we're stuck with a crappy general tag. And so this year I have been putting in a little extra time deer hunting, so I apologize. The podcasts haven't been coming out as regular as I promised. But I break my promises all the time. If you're listening for any amount of time, you should know that by now. But here I am today, and I'm going to discuss what we got going on here. Just kind of, this episode is just going to kind of be just me chatting, just me talking about stuff that's been going on here at Patriot Defense, some stuff that has happened locally concerning firearms and guns. I'll probably touch a little bit on that conference that I attended in Salt Lake that I was telling you all about. But what do we got going here at Patriot Defense class-wise? So I've opened up the registrations for the women's and the men's shooting academies, and those I'm getting pretty good traction on those. Those are I'm getting a lot of people saying that they want to sign up for them, and that's good. We're still a little ways out yet. I mean, they can sign up now, but they got time to save the money, set aside some cash, whatever it is that they need to do. But I'm getting a lot of interest. In fact, yesterday I had a bunch of guys over just to come shoot. Jeremy, he helps me out. If you've been in any of my classes, Jeremy helps me out in quite a few of my permit classes and even some of the other classes. But he has some friends that he works with, and I don't know, maybe they're listening, maybe they're not. But he's got some friends that he works with, and he's been telling them, man, go get yourself signed up for the men's academy. Go sign your wife up for the women's academy. And Jeremy, I do appreciate all the support. So we had a bunch of these guys that he knew that were kind of on the edge, like they talked about they wanted to, but they hadn't done it yet. And so I just let him come out and shoot yesterday. Just come out, bring some of your guns, shoot, meet me. Maybe, sometimes that makes people a little more comfortable. And so I was thinking about this the other day. My wife's like, now what is going on this afternoon when these guys are coming out? Is this a class? Is this not a class? I mean, are these your friends? And I mean, I know a couple of them. Jeremy's my friend, right? But I'm just letting them come shoot and get a feel for it and to see if I can encourage them to sign up for the men's academy or even the women's academy with their wives. And so what I called not yesterday, it was Saturday afternoon. What I called Saturday afternoon is I called the Patriot Defense's first Catalina wine mixer. It was the Catalina wine mixer. I was supposed to, wow everyone, introduce them to me, get to know them, kind of wow them into possibly signing up. So I look at it as marketing. It was Patriot Defense's first Catalina wine mixer. Now, there was no alcohol served. We don't do that here. We don't drink and shoot. It doesn't happen here. So I did that with that group of guys. I mean, it was a good day. We shot lots of, they brought a whole bunch of guns, and so I got to shoot a bunch of different guns that I hadn't shot before. In fact, if you're on the social media, you can see that I shot one of the guys had this just gigantic revolver. It was a 460 Smith & Wesson. That was a lot of fun. We each got to shoot that a little bit. He was generously allowed everyone to shoot at one time because I'm sure those rounds are like, $3 a piece. So the video's on there. Fun gun. I mean, I think you'd probably only want to shoot it a handful of times, and then you probably put it away, for a couple months. But fun gun for what it was. It was a great time Saturday. And funny enough, that was just a bunch of guys. So I have another lady that has been coming and taking the Women's Academy and a bunch of stuff as well from me, a bunch of different classes. And she got a hold of me, and she's got a bunch of friends that she's been trying to get them to maybe sign up for, their own women's academies, join next year's and do some other classes. And so not only did we have one Catalina wine mixer, we are going to have another Catalina wine mixer. I don't know. It's kind of it's a fun way to market. So I'm trying that out this year. Bring a couple little groups in, give them a taste of kind of what they'll learn in class and or in the academies, and just kind of see if I can hook them, see if I can set that hook. So we'll kind of go that direction. So what else do we got going on here? I did a kind of a beginner's rifle class the other day, high ready, low ready, that kind of stuff. Let's dial in the dot, that kind of stuff. So I did one of those the other day. This morning, this afternoon, actually, I think about 1:00, I have one of my first red dot classes. Someone called me up, said, hey, look, I got my duty gun, and then I've got the gun I carry for concealed carry on my person, and I just put a red dot on it. And there's kind of a learning curve with the red dot, so I want to learn how to shoot that. So she's coming over this afternoon, and we are going to teach her the red dot. So I'll officially do my first red dot class. Not that I have never wanted to do one of those. I've just never really kind of, quite had the request. So this is going to be a specific red dot class. So it'll be fun. I look forward to it. Something new, something out of the box. I love giving the permit classes. I love giving the like the beginner's class and stuff like that. But anytime I can do a class that is just a little different, it's always fun for me. I kind of come up with a new curriculum, and it's just something outside the norm of what I do. And once I do it and I accomplish it successfully, then I can add it to my list of classes that I offer. I had another interesting class the other day where this lady, she's been coming out here for, I don't know, probably 2, maybe 3 years, signing up for the Women's Academy. She's a great lady. We have a lot of fun. Kind of got to know her over the last 3 years or so. And she goes, Todd, I don't have a rifle and I don't have a shotgun. And I don't know that I want to purchase one, but man, I've never shot one. Could you set up a class for me where I just shot those, do you have some shotguns and rifles I can shoot? I said, yes. So I priced it out accordingly to where, we have multiple different rifles and some different shotguns for her to shoot. And so what I did is I priced that out accordingly to I would provide the ammo. Again, I priced it out to include all that. And she showed up, and for 2 hours, I taught her how to shoot a shotgun. She shot 20-gauge pumps, semi-autos, 12-gauge pumps, 12-gauge semi-autos. She shot AR-15. She shot the PCC. She shot a couple different caliber deer rifles. Like, we just it was a great day. That was a fun class. That was an outside of the box, outside of the norm type of class from what I usually shoot or usually teach. And so that was a lot of fun. So if you're into something like that, I can literally put together anything for you, right? This goes out to anyone who's listening, I guess, but more or less the local people. Say, hey, look, I've never shot a shotgun before and I don't have one. Will you teach me how? Dang right, I'll teach you how. Hit me up. We will get it scheduled. We'll make it happen. Come over. You can shoot some shotguns. A lot of fun. We had, I can customize any class for you. I drank a lot of coffee this morning, people, so I'm kind of like all over the place here. But I mean, what's new? That's my podcasting style. I'm looking here. Some new news, which isn't quite confirmed yet, but I mean, I think it's literally just up to me to make this happen. But I do a radio show every Friday for an hour. It's on Clicks, 1310, 96.1 FM, from 8 to 9 in the morning. And it's part of a package that I pay for advertising at one of my local radio stations. Do it every Fridays from 8 to 9 in the morning. We talk about firearms. People call in. It's a live show. It's fun. I've been doing it, like I said, for almost right around either almost or right at 10 years now. Well, the main guy that hosts the show, he's there Monday through Friday. His name is Bill. And he starts at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I think he goes to like 10. So that's 4 hours of show that he does 5 days a week. And occasionally the guy likes to use some of his vacation time. And I believe he's got like 5 weeks worth of vacation time every year. And they struggle sometimes trying to find people to fill in for his show when he's out of town, because obviously something's got to happen, right? And so they've been tossing around some ideas And sometimes it's really hard to find people with the right talent or that are free to randomly just come in and do the show for those days. And so they approached me, and they think they have it worked out. They're going to air something else on the days that he's on vacation, except for Friday. Since Friday is my show, they've tossed around the idea and asked me if I would be interested in sitting in that whole morning from 6 in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning. And so that would include my 1 hour gun show. So I could do anything I wanted, talk about anything I wanted, bring in any guest that I want, and still just talk about guns for that 1 hour. Or I could talk firearms for the full 4 hours on the Fridays that this guy is taking his vacation. Now, it's not going to be every week, okay? It's not going to be every week, but it will be, like I said, at least 5 times a year probably. Now, this is, they just figured it would be a good way for me to get my, advertising out, get the word about my business out. And frankly, I'm on board. I'm on board. First of all, I love doing the radio. And I do the podcast. I like the podcast. It's not always put together real good, this podcast. Just because it is me, it's pre-recorded, it's not live. And so it is what it is. But when I do this radio show, if I were to do this radio show, I'd obviously have to go in a little more prepared, a little more planned out. I don't think that would be a problem at all. So I just have to learn how to run their board, their equipment, make sure everything was up and functional. I'll be able to take live phone calls during the radio show. Like, I'm pretty excited about this. So I'm supposed to make a decision by the end of this week. And I don't know. I may have my own 4-hour radio show every now and then, live radio show on the local radio stations on Fridays. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I'll tell you what. Get on the social media page, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And if this really happens, if I agree to this, which I think I'm going to, and they decide that it's a good fit, and they want me to continue with this, and it goes into effect, as soon as I know, I will let you guys know. And for those that aren't even around here, you could actually, even though it's a local radio show, you can actually download the Clicks 1310 96.1 FM app on your smartphone. They have it for both, I believe, for Apple and Android. And you can actually listen to that show live. And from there, you can actually message in live messages like during the show. And I'll see them, answer them, respond to them if they're nice. The one thing that I am worried about, but it might be kind of fun. The one thing I'm worried about by doing a live show, just me, I mean, we're talking just me, running the boards, I said I can bring in guests, is I know I've got me a handful of haters out there. So I'm thinking I'll probably get a few of those guys messaging in or calling in. So that'll be super interesting. We'll see. This is an interesting proposition. So I'm kind of nervous, and I'm kind of, I'm pretty excited and nervous, like at the same time. I really am. So we'll see what happens. What else do I got going on? Well, it's official. If you don't live in the area, I'm sure it's changed where you are as well, but the weather has changed, hopefully for the better. Hopefully we are cooling off. No more 85 or 90 degree days. I know I went this last weekend, or yesterday actually. I took my boys out deer hunting again. We try to go every weekend, and I took them out deer hunting, and it was cold in the morning. Like, we had like a 40-mile-an-hour wind. Couldn't feel our hands. I had a great time with my boys. And, in Idaho, we'll talk about hunting a little bit. It involves shooting, right? In Idaho, if you're not familiar with how it works kind of the same way it does everywhere else, but I'll explain it. You can buy a general deer tag, a general deer permit, and go in one of the areas that's listed as general hunt. So you can go there. Nah, there's deer in those areas, but there's a lot of people too, typically. So you plan on doing that, but what you do, just in case you get drawn, you put in for different areas for like buck tags or a bull elk tag or whatever it is. And if you draw, then you go and hunt that unit, that chosen unit that might have a higher concentration of deer, They control the amount of people that are in there hunting at any given time or throughout the year. So that's kind of cool. So sometimes it's real hard to draw those tags. People can go lots of years without drawing those tags. So me and my two boys, we put it on the buddy tag, which means if one of us gets drawn, then all three of us, we each get a permit. So we have buck tags for Unit 54, and we've been poking around out there, kind of struggling to even find deer. We hear lots of elk, all kinds of stuff. But I think I've got a line on where the deer are. So we're going to go back next weekend. But yesterday, we actually played around with a couple bucks. We just couldn't make it happen. We saw them too late. They saw us, that kind of thing. So we played around with a couple of bucks and just couldn't make it work. We also, if you're on my personal private Facebook page, which if you are on my private Facebook page, just know I post some stuff up there. A lot of it's not gun related. You may or may not disagree with it, and I'm not here to offend you, but what I post on my business page and my personal page are two totally different things, and you need to understand that. I typically, unless I got a problem with you, if someone requests from, who's taking classes from me, if someone requests to be on my personal page, I allow them to do so, and I accept that request. But just know, you never know what you're going to get on that page. So if I offend you, I'm sorry, but I warned you. Anyhow, if you go on there and look, I posted pictures yesterday, and we got, man, I wish I would have had a moose tag. We came across this monster moose. We got out, we pulled up the spot. I was like, well, let's go hike these canyons, see if we can kick up a deer or something. So we got out, we were hiking down, and all of a sudden I hear something move. I'm thinking deer. And I turned and I looked over my left shoulder, and right next to us, the thing was 35 yards away. I see this big, massive, these horns just lift up out of the sagebrush and grass. And it was just monster bull moose. And he looked a little grumpy. We snapped some pictures. He just kind of stood there and looked at us. And we kept walking down the trail. And I thought he'd be gone when we got back, right? Because we obviously woke him up from his nap. And I thought he'd be gone. So we went down the trail. We hiked for another hour or so and then turned around and we kind of hiked back up the trail again. We had to pass by the same spot. And sure enough, we woke him up again. And he stood up. And I never really felt threatened by him, but this thing is massive. He stood up and he just kind of grunts a little bit. And I'm like, oh, he might be a little irritated with us. We've woken him up from his nap 2 times now. But anyhow, I got some really cool pictures. This thing is massive. I mean, I don't know much about moose. I don't know how to estimate moose, but I mean, this thing kind of looks like it's 50 inches wide. It's a big freaking moose. Really big moose for Idaho. And I would almost venture to say, take a chance here, just off the cuff, say for Idaho, that was probably a trophy moose. I think that would have been a highly sought after bull. Kind of wild. So check it out. If you want to see those pictures, go check it out on Facebook. The dude is super impressive. And what else we got going on? Oh, I got a hot call last weekend. I was kind of poking around Facebook. People are kind of doing some talking and stuff. And there was a local law enforcement officer. Okay. He was teaching an enhanced concealed carry permit class. Okay. Same kind of class as I teach. I didn't know this guy. He's a chief of police where he works. And like we said, he was chief of police where he works, or he is chief of police where he works. And he was teaching this permit class. And he ended up shooting himself in the leg when he was I don't know if it was when he was drawing his firearm or reholstering his firearm. He shot himself in the leg. The guy that was supposed to be the expert. Well, not only because he was the instructor, because some people would also say or just consider that he was an expert because of what? Because he is law enforcement, right? The dude shot himself in the leg in the middle of a permit class. I don't wish that on anyone, but I do know I don't know exactly what happened. So I know some details, what I'm going to tell you now, but I don't know the total ins and outs of the details. So he was with a 1911. So that tells me one thing right there. Whether he was drawing or reholstering his gun, the safety was not on. When you're going to carry a 1911 and you have a round in the chamber, which there was obviously a round in the chamber, you are required to do what? Keep the safety on. When that gun goes in the holster, you engage that safety and then reholster carefully with your finger off the trigger. Okay? Now, when you draw that gun to shoot, you draw it, point it down range as you bring it up, you kick that safety off and drive that gun straight out. Shoot, bang, bang, bang. You're done. You retract the firearm with it still pointing down range, put the safety on, and then carefully reholster it. That's how you're supposed to do it. Am I right? I'm right. Trust me, I'm right. Okay. Obviously, he did not do that. I don't know what touched the trigger. Was it a shirt? Was it a string off a hoodie? Did it get tangled in his belt, tangled in his holster? Was his finger still on the trigger? Did he put his finger on the trigger at the improper time? I don't know. Something happened. We're going to call it a negligent discharge. But I do know one thing, okay? You don't want to get anything with the trigger, finger, shirt, anything, right? But if he would have been carrying that firearm properly, and that safety on that gun, which is a required system for a 1911, is to have that safety on. That's the way you do that. That safety was not on. I guarantee you he didn't have the safety on. So here we got a guy who is not doing correct things with his firearm of choice, which is a 1911. Now, I'm not picking on 1911s, but it's important to know that's the firearm he was using to kind of think about all the situations of how it could have gone off, and it would have had to have been fired because the safety was off. Okay, but if that's the gun you're going to use, if you are the instructor, you need to properly use said gun, okay, especially in front of students. Now, the next question, and I don't know the answer to this. I haven't asked around. I haven't heard. Was it on the range, or was he in the classroom when it went off? Because I got issues with both, okay? Now, this is Todd's philosophy. This is kind of what I was taught, and this is the way I do it. When I'm on the range teaching, or if I'm in the classroom teaching, depending on what I'm teaching on the range, okay, let's say that. But for sure, 100%, when I'm teaching in the classroom, I do not carry a gun on my person. I do not have a loaded gun on my person when I'm teaching. I'm using my hands. I'm picking up dummy guns when I demonstrate basics, blue guns. And then when I demonstrate a trigger press, I will get into my gun bag. I will take my gun out of the gun bag, which has been already inspected, and to make sure it was unloaded, there's no magazines in the gun. I will rack the slide numerous times. I'll safety check it half a dozen times. I'll hand it to someone else in the class and say, verify it is unloaded, verify there's not one in the chamber, verify there's not a magazine in said gun, and then I will be safe with it, point it in a safe direction, and I will demonstrate a trigger press. But I do not carry a loaded gun on my person for fear that I accidentally draw it to demonstrate something. I know people go, well, you would do that? I'm afraid I don't think I would, but I want to just take any chance of that ever happening, but in just not having a loaded firearm on my person. Okay? And so that's my method of teaching. That's what I do. If this, for some reason, and I don't know for sure, if this happened in the classroom, that was just asinine. Again, I don't know exactly what happened. I know a little bit of what happened. I don't know the mindset. I don't know where it happened. I don't know exactly what was going through the guy's mind when it happened or what he was doing. My thoughts are, if you are teaching a class, especially a concealed carry permit class, and you're in the classroom and you're carrying a loaded weapon in the classroom, that's just egotistical. You're showing off at that point. Don't show off. Don't go in there with some attitude of, I know better than you. I'm going to be safer than you. I posted a video on Facebook last week, and everyone saw it. It's an old video. This guy in the classroom, and he's got this gun, this 40 cal Smith & Wesson or Glock, or 40 cal Glock, I think is what it was. And he's like, I'm the only one that's trained enough in this class to not fire this weapon and be safe with it. The dude holsters the gun and freaking shoots himself right through the leg. Right? I mean, he shoots himself. I'm the only one qualified enough in this room right here to not to be safe to handle this weapon, and he shoots himself through the freaking leg. Okay? When you're teaching class and you're an instructor, check your ego at the door. Right? You're not there to bolster your confidence, to bolster your ego, or to feed your ego. None of that stuff. You are there to teach. You are there to instruct. You are not there to intimidate and say, look, I'm better than you. Look, I can do this and you can't. You're not there to do that. Now, sometimes that takes place a little bit, and that's after you get to know the people and you're on the range and you might get a little jokey with them, right? But overall, you don't go in there with that kind of attitude. Okay? And leave the loaded guns out of the freaking classroom. Out of the classroom. It's just ridiculous to me. Okay? Now, if this happened on the range, also, it was very negligent. The safety was off. That's a bad situation. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, man, at least in Idaho, at least here where I am, you should never be teaching, as far as I'm concerned, the draw in a permit class. That should be a next step class. You don't do that. The reason why you don't do that is, first of all, you don't know what kind of holsters you're going to have show up. Okay, there's all different kinds of holsters. Some holsters, make me cry when I see them because they are unsafe and make me very nervous. And so when I have someone come draw in class, they need to kind of have a certain type of holster. And you never know the experience level of the people that are going to show up to the permit class. Some of them have no experience or little to no experience. Some people say they got lots of experience, but maybe they've never drawn from a holster. They don't know how to do that. Like that is literally another 3-hour class on top of the permit class. And when you might have 20 people, 15, 20, 30 people in a permit class, that is not a safe place to teach the draw. And so having them draw from a holster in a permit class is just asinine. It's stupid. It is unsafe. Honestly, it is. You're kind of like, when you teach a class of people how to draw a firearm anyhow, like you're kind of pushing the limits. You guys have to be very controlled. You have to be very careful. And frankly, some people are not up for it. Some people don't have the mechanical ability. They can't control their actions. Maybe they're a little jerky, and I'm not picking on people. Sometimes it's the older crowd. And they know who I'm talking about. I'm not trying to be offensive, but they're not ones to draw a gun. And that shouldn't be a part of said permit class. Also, you don't know what kind of guns you're going to have show up. Massive guns to little teeny tiny guns owned by shooters that have massive hands that can barely get their finger in the trigger to actually shoot that little tiny gun. And then you bring them to class, and let's say I did teach the draw. Now I'm expecting them to holster that gun and draw that gun in class and shoot it. Yeah, I don't freaking think so. Sometimes people have a hard time with the fundamentals. They don't know the fundamentals. There's no way I'm going to teach them to draw. So in my brain, teaching a person how to draw in a permit class is just about the most dumbest, asinine, unsafe thing you can do. That has to be another class. Now, not that I like requirements, not that I like the state to require that. But if the state wanted to require someone to learn the draw, then that should be a whole nother class, honestly. A whole nother class. So if he was teaching if this person, this officer, if he was teaching the draw in a permit class, that's just dumb. That is just dumb. And obviously he needs someone to teach him the draw, because when he did it, he effed it all up and shot himself through the freaking leg with a 1911, a 45, mind you. At least I'm assuming it was a 45. If it's a true 1911, it was a 45. So is he one to be teaching someone how to draw the freaking firearm? Like, no, he's not. And I'm not trying to pick on law enforcement, but I want to point out, because sometimes people, I took my class from a law enforcement officer. Yeah, well, that doesn't mean that they're good handlers of a firearm. That doesn't mean they're good shooters. That doesn't mean someone could be a good shooter and not be a good instructor. And this is just more proof, more evidence to back up that saying. And I know a lot of people take issue with that when I say that, because it's like, oh, these guys, they walk on water, they're freaking heroes. Yeah, not all of them. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to chat about more than anything else today, was that. Be careful who you take a class from, okay? Vet the class, or vet the instructor. Vet the whole class as far as how long you've been doing business. Vet the instructor. Do you have insurance? What are your creds? How, all this stuff. Ask around, talk to other students, see what, and I encourage everyone to do that. Even do that if you're coming to take one of my classes. I mean, even at the chance there might be someone out there that took a class and didn't like me. And then if they tell you that, go find somewhere else to take a class. I mean, it is what it is. That's the risk I take. But you go and you should vet your instructors, and don't vet them. And then as soon as you hear that they're a veteran or a law enforcement officer, and go, oh, well, they're good. Nah, I've got a lot of proof that says there's a big chance that it goes the other direction. And you can't just use that to as a good creds. I used to have people that would call me up, say, I want to take some classes with you. I want to take a permit class from you. But they go, first of all, I want to talk to you a little bit. And I'd be like, oh boy, I know where this is going. I've been in this game long enough. What's your background? I'm like, what do you mean what my background is? Well, you must be ex-military, right? Nope, not ex-military. Well, okay. You're law enforcement then? Nope. Just because I deal in firearms doesn't mean I'm military or law enforcement. Well, what's your background? I'll happily tell you my background. But it's funny because we have been programmed to think that you have to be from one of those two backgrounds to be able to handle a firearm good or be able to instruct firearms. It's absolutely ridiculous to me that is a thing. But I mean, if those people call me and they ask me those questions, they're doing what? They're vetting their instructor, and I'm okay with that. And I'll tell them where I come from and how long I've been doing this, and I'll talk to them about anything that they want to talk about. And then they have to make their own choice, right? But it's just interesting how much weight being a veteran or being a current or retired law enforcement, how much weight people think that actually carries. Because you know what? It doesn't. It's garbage, man. It's just freaking garbage. It does not make you good. So anyhow, I just wanted to throw that out there. Take it or leave it. Maybe I pissed some people off. Maybe I didn't. But I'll keep you guys apprised of the radio show and how that works out. And if I am going to actually start doing the whole show on Fridays for, whenever the guy goes out of town or not. But that'll be fun if I do. So I'll keep you guys up to date on all that. If you like the podcast, share it with your family, share it with your friends. If you want to comment, you want to tell me I'm wrong, I'm dumb, I'm whatever, you can call me. You can text me, area code 620-794-6223. It's area code 620-794-6223. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.